You tell yourself, I don't do politics, I just do my job. And you think you are being nice and noble. You wear your lack of social maneuvering like a badge of honor. But in the eyes of the system, you aren't a saint. You're a liability. While you're busy polishing a PowerPoint deck that 12 people will skim, a mediocre peer is having a 15-minute conversation at a charity gala that effectively eliminates your department's budget for next year. According to public reports on corporate churn, the quiet achiever is the first to be laid off, not because they aren't skilled, but because they have no political equity. You can't opt out of office politics any more than you can opt out of gravity. If you're not playing the game, you're just the board everyone else is playing on. To understand why you're losing, we have to look at the birth of the professional managerial class. In the early 20th century, companies were chaotic. Max Weber, a father of sociology, proposed the bureaucracy as a solution. It was supposed to be a rational legal system. Logic, merit, files, analysis suggests this was the greatest PR campaign in human history. The system was sold as a way to remove human messiness. But here's the open loop. If you remove human messiness, you remove human loyalty. And without loyalty, how does a leader ensure their own survival? They create a shadow system. Under the guise of standard operating procedures, a secondary layer of implicit rules was born. Public reports from organizational historians suggest that the more fair a company claims to be on paper, the more vicious the shadow politics are behind closed doors. Let's get technical. In any organization, power doesn't follow the lines on the PDF. It follows information asymmetry. In 1992, sociologist Ronald Burt identified the concept of structural holes. If person A knows something person B needs and they are the only link, person A has power, regardless of their job title. Analysis of corporate communication flows suggests that the secretaries and chiefs of staff often hold more network centrality than the VPs. They are the gatekeepers. When you stay out of politics, you are essentially cutting your own fiber optic cables. You are operating on 2G data while your competitors are on 5G. You find out about the merger when the press release drops. They found out 6 months ago over a game of racquetball. Consider the case of the brilliant consultant. Reported by executive search firms, there's a recurring phenomenon called the competence trap. Meet Sarah. Sarah is a star. She's the best coder in the firm. She stays until 9 p.m. She refuses to waste time at the company retreat. Now meet Mark. Mark is average. He's a B+ worker. But Mark knows that the head of product is terrified of the new AI transition. Mark spends his time socially prototyping. He brings the head of product articles, connects him with experts, and makes himself vibrationally aligned with the boss's anxiety. When a restructuring happens, which is corporate speak for someone has to go, who does the boss keep? The star who is a black box of productivity? Or the player who feels like a trusted ally? Analysis suggests the star is seen as a tool, and tools are replaceable. The player is seen as infrastructure, and infrastructure is permanent. Why do companies let this happen? Why don't they just fire the politicians and keep the workers? Because the system evolved to protect itself. If you only had workers, the company would have no social cohesion. But there's a darker side. Cultural fit is the ultimate evasion tactic. It's the legal way to say, I don't like that you didn't play the game. Public reports on HR litigation show that cultural fit is the #1 defense used to justify skipping over the most qualified candidate. The system creates a language of merit to hide a system of favoritism. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It allows the elite to replicate themselves without ever having to admit they are doing it. So what do? Do you become the backstabbing villain? No. That's amateur hour. The insider strategy is ethical influence. 1. Map the shadow org chart. Who does your boss actually listen to? It's rarely their boss. It's usually a peer or a long-term assistant. 2. The 3-person rule. You need 1 mentor above you, 1 peer beside you, and 1 connector in a different department. If you have these 3, you are network insulated. 3. Information arbitrage. Be the person who brings news from the outside to the inside. Most people will watch this and feel dirty. They'll go back to their desks and hope for a 3% raise. But you You now see the lines of code behind the matrix. You can be the person who works for the machine, or you can be the person who understands how the machine is wired. The next video in this series covers the executive presence algorithm and why your clothes matter more than your IQ. Hit subscribe or stay in the dark. The choice is yours.